Hello, today I'm going to be talking about the Pacific Alliance. The Pacific Alliance is an initiative of regional integration comprised by Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Peru. It was officially established on April 28th in 2011. They made main objectives, like build in a participatory and consensual way an area of deep integration to move progressively towards the free mobility of goods, services, resources, and people. Also, drive further growth, development, and competitiveness of the economies of its members, focused on achieving greater well-being, overcoming socioeconomic inequality, and promoting the social inclusion of its inhabitants. And the last one is become a platform of political articulation, economic and commercial integration of projection to the world, with emphasis on the Asia-Pacific region. On their webpage from the Pacific Alliance, they describe themselves as a strategic platform because it is an open and inclusive integration process formed by countries with alike views on development that are free trade promoters. Because it's a dynamic initiative with high potential and business projection. Together, the four economies are the 8th greatest economy in the world. Also, it is oriented towards modernity, pragmatism, and political will to face the challenges of the international economic environment. And it offers competitive advantages for international business with a clear orientation towards Pacific Asia. Also, they say they are open to free trade. The Pacific Alliance is the 8th economy power and the 8th export force worldwide. In Latin America and the Caribbean, the bloc of countries represented 38% of the GDP, 50% of the total trade, and attracts 45% of the foreign direct investment. The four countries gather a population of 225 million persons and have an average per capita a GDP of $18,000. Also, the population is mainly young and constitutes a qualified labor force as well as an attractive subset of consumers whose purchase power is in constant growth. Okay, here is the structure of the Pacific Alliance, where Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Peru are members. The members maintain a network of trade agreements with each other and with the most developed and dynamic world economies. The Pacific Alliance promotes commercial investment, innovation, and technology exchange with the most competitive economies of the world. Also has the potential to attract new investments to the region and counts with competitive advantages in mining, forest resources, energy, agriculture, automotive industry, fishing, and manufacturing. These are the 59 observer states from the Pacific Alliance. The most recent ones are Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Kazakhstan, that were recently included into the observer states. This is the timeline from the Pacific Alliance. On April 28, 2011, the former president of Peru, Alan Garcia, organized a meeting with the presidents of Chile, Colombia, and Mexico. This group of political leaders issued the Declaración de Lima, which was a statement of intent to establish the Pacific Alliance. In 2012, they established the Pacific Alliance on June 6th, and they signed the agreement, Declaración de Paraná. Then in 2013, Costa Rica signed a trade agreement with Colombia, and later in the summit received approval for full membership from all the founding members into the Pacific Alliance. Now Costa Rica is finishing up the process so it can be really incorporated to the alliance as a new member. Then in 2014, they signed the additional protocol to the framework agreement. In 2015, it entered into validity, the framework agreement. In 2016, the commercial protocol entered into force. Then in 2017, the negotiations with candidates to associated countries like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and Singapore. And finally, in 2019, which was the last summit, the negotiations with candidates to associated countries like Ecuador and Korea. Okay, the trade liberalization and projects. In May 2016, the Pacific Alliance removed 92% of tariffs on goods traded between members. Based on a 2013 agreement, the rest of the tariffs will be removed by 2020. Also, they want to have a Latin American Integrated Market, or MILA. It is originally integrated the stock markets of Colombia, Chile, and Peru, and is seen as a foundation for the alliance's economic integration. These three stock markets began their integration in November 2010. This made it Latin America's largest market according to number of issuers, the second by market capitalization, and the third by turnover. Then the Mexican Stock Exchange began the process of incorporation into MILA, and its full incorporation was expected by the year 2014. The Mexican Stock Exchange took the step of acquiring a total of 3.79 million shares of the Lima Stock Exchange, equivalent to 6.7% of the shares of Series A of that market. Also, the creation of joint diplomatic missions. Among the more important agreements that have been reached is the creation of joint diplomatic missions, embassies, consulates, etc., that will provide citizens of Pacific Alliance member states with needed diplomatic services. The Declaration of Cali highlights the importance of the opening of an embassy shared between Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Peru in Ghana, as well as the agreement between Chile and Colombia to share embassies in Algeria and Morocco, and between Colombia and Peru to share an embassy in Vietnam. The Declaration of Cali encourages this country to move forward on these initiatives. In November 2014, Mexico opened its first trade office in Africa, located in Casablanca, and shared with the other Pacific Alliance members. Okay, according to Magazine Portafolio, in 2019, the Pacific Alliance planted their vision for 2030 in four aspects: the integration, the global aspect, the connection, and citizenship. About the integration aspect, the group estimates to duplicate the trade within the alliance through production chains and incorporating small and medium-sized enterprises. Also promote trade openness without tariffs, health barriers, and technical obstacles, and with the approval of standards. Facilitate investment in technology and infrastructure in intensive sectors, and expand the participation of the private sector through the Business Council of the Pacific Alliance, and strengthen the participation of small and medium-sized enterprises. About the global aspect, they want to become the main commercial integration platform in Latin America, with greater commercial and cooperation agreements with other blocs and countries, accept the entry of 10 associated states, also have active programs with observer states and organizations that support its integration project and promote South-South cooperation. Also, they want to incorporate the 4 members of the alliance into the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and integrate them into multilateral forums such as the G20. They want to have a visa so that foreign visitors can access to 4 countries with a single document. About the connection, they want to become a regional digital market that incorporates information and communication technologies in its production processes. Also promote access of the small and medium-sized enterprises to new technologies. And finally, the citizenship. They want to have a sustainable agenda with projects for adaptation and mitigation to the effects of climate change and clean energy. Also, mainstreaming of the gender approach in the Pacific Alliance, the strengthen the Okay, about the citizenship, they want to have a sustainable agenda with projects for adaptation and mitigation to the effects of climate change and clean energy. They want to mainstream of the gender approach in the Pacific Alliance. They strengthen the financial management of the risk of natural disaster, achieve free movement of people, extend the student academic mobility platform with a system of recognition of degrees and common framework of qualifications. As a personal view, I think that the project of an economic union in Latin America has always been a dream to consolidate a strong economy and boost every member's commerce. Also, this kind of union or alliance generates employment, free movement of labor, and harmony between the countries that also implies certain level of political integration, like the European Union. I think that the little steps like this integration body increases the possibility to acquire or reach an integration level where every Latin American country is assembled and dependent on each other in order to achieve a better economy and maybe become a world superpower. Thank you.